Drafty in here?
I like what you did there.
Starting to feel like that with pro days ramping up. Miami's Cam Ward taking center stage today after he didn't throw at the Combine. He's slated to go first overall to Tennessee in Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. Titans have been quite mysterious about their plans with the top overall pick. The draft is 1 month from tonight in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we've got a couple of mystery men ourselves, Jeff Darlington, Mike Tannenbaum with us. Jeff, a month out from the draft, how likely is it that Tennessee takes Cam Ward?
In a word, Randy, likely. Listen, this is the perfect situation where you have a player who appears to be separating himself in the eye of scouts as the clear number one quarterback in this draft, and you have a team that is obviously in the market for a quarterback in the Tennessee Titans. So, listen, Cam Ward is throwing for the first time of the offseason with scouts present. He didn't do so at the Combine. So, yes, general managers will be assembled, including that of other teams, like the New York Giants at 3, for instance, who could have their eyes on Cam Ward, but it feels very likely that right now the only team that needs to be there watching them is the Tennessee Titans, because for now, at least, it feels like the obvious companionship.
Mike T, is that the right move?
Absolutely. He is demonstrably better than Will Levis, who may go on to have a good career for somebody else, but Cam Ward is well built. He has outstanding fundamentals. Obviously, we saw the stats, 39 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. He's very accurate, plays with great anticipation. He's a good athlete, maybe not a high-end athlete, Randy, but it is an absolute no-brainer for Tennessee to take him number one, really, regardless of what happens today. Even though we didn't see him at the Combine, today a pro day is important, but his body of work will carry the day for Tennessee.
All right, Jeff, listen, the quarterback we're all waiting on really is Aaron Rodgers. He met with the Steelers on Friday for 6 hours. How significant is that meeting to his future?
So it is significant, Randy, but it is not the end-all. The fact that he left without a deal in place tells you everything you need to know. As one person who's got their eyes on Aaron Rodgers still, in the sweepstakes, if you will, basically said that this is a scenario where literally Aaron Rodgers is the only one who knows what he's going to do. Oftentimes, he pointed out that someone will give you some sense of what's happening. With Aaron, as they put it, he doesn't even have really a circle to tell you what's happening at this point. This is really about Rodgers. Yes, it feels like perhaps we can call Pittsburgh the front runner, but by no means do I think that we should simply say that this is an inevitable pairing between Rodgers and Steelers at this point.
Okay, so Mike, given that inevitability, given the time frame so far, if you're the Steelers, how nervous are you at this point?
Extremely. A lot of angst, a lot of nervousness, and here's why. Until somebody is signed, Randy, you just never know. Unfortunately, several years ago, we saw Teddy Bridgewater get hurt in a non-contact drill ending his season. What happens if J.J. McCarthy, albeit unlikely, doesn't look good in the spring for Minnesota? So until a player is signed, you never know in the NFL. There's 31 other teams that may have a compelling need, albeit unexpectedly. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I am creating a massive sense of urgency. I acquire DK Metcalf. I have George Pickens. I desperately need a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers gives me the best chance to win. At some point, I have to go to Russell Wilson because I just can't sit here and wait until indiscriminately Aaron Rodgers wakes up and says, okay, I'm ready to go.
Steelers are looking to keep a good run going. They haven't had a losing season since 2003, and that includes with
ProgressiveCommercial.com. Mike Tannenbaum is here, ESPN NFL front office insider. All right, walk us through how this happens. You've had many players in for visits. Aaron Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh. He's there for 6 years, leaves without a deal done. What does that mean exactly?
Well, a 6-year visit's a long time.
I'm sorry, 6 hours. 6-hour visit. My bad. So what happens on a 6-hour visit where a deal does not get done?
Yeah, well, you're surely going to give him a physical. Let's get that out of the way. But obviously, you got to create a sense of urgency. If we're the Pittsburgh Steelers, if we're running the Steelers, and we gave $30 million a year and a second-round pick to DK Metcalf, our expectations are Mason Rudolph is not that quarterback. I am not letting Aaron Rodgers leave without signing because here's why. If you go back, it doesn't happen a lot, but if you guys remember Teddy Bridgewater, his career was on the ascension. He had a non-contact injury that was season-ending. Arguably, he was really never the same. Point being is, albeit unusual, things could happen. And if I'm the Steelers, I want to lock him up ASAP. What happens if J.J. McCarthy walks the bases loaded in a mini camp, and now all of a sudden Kevin O'Connell's like, hey, we're going to go with Rodgers as 1 and McCarthy as 2. So I'm nervous. I have angst. I have a massive sense of urgency if I am the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, Mike T, the Pittsburgh Steelers are clearly all in on Aaron Rodgers. The New York Giants just signed Jameis Winston. Where does that leave Russell Wilson? Where do you think the best fit for him is, given what's going on in the landscape in the NFL?
Yeah, and remarkably, Giants were able to sign Winston without having him there for 6 years, which was really amazing. I would say, with Russell Wilson, if I'm, again, Pittsburgh, I can't sit there and think that if I just sit there at 21, I'm going to get a good quarterback. I think Jackson Dart goes early, and now, you're probably into the fourth best quarterback. So, again, Russell Wilson may not be perfect, but he's a lot better than Mason Rudolph. So at some point, I got to say, hey, if you don't want it, Aaron Rodgers, we're going to sign. And, we're sort of in the dot connecting world right now. I think a lot of people think Cleveland at some point is going to get Kirk Cousins. Maybe they just feel like they got to be patient and wait out the Falcons.
Let's go back to the Giants and connect some more dots. So they bring in Jameis Winston, as CeCe said, but do you think they're still going to be aggressive and find another quarterback, a quarterback for the future in the draft?
I think they have to, Michelle. It's the old axiom, we got to win for today, keep our jobs, build something, and then develop for tomorrow. And again, not to do the autopsy, which we've done about Daniel Jones' contract, but last year, if they just turned in the card, they'd have J.J. McCarthy, who is a well-built, Big Ten, productive quarterback. I still don't understand, as great as Malik Nabers is going to be, why they didn't take J.J. McCarthy, and now you're in this incredible conundrum.
I get my guess on that would be they didn't have secure enough jobs where they felt like they could reach at 6 for a quarterback. And my whole thing forever.
Why is it reach?
Well, that's the point.
But you just paid Daniel Jones.
Right. But to me, there is no such thing as a reach at the quarterback position if you're right. There's only a reach if you're wrong.
But go back to CeCe's point. You show me the melted toughness of an owner, I'll show you a good organization. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted Carson Wentz, paid him over $100 million, drafted Jalen Hurts, rest of history. The Rams drafted Jared Goff, gave him over $100 million, and said, hey, guess what? We're better with Matt Stafford. If I'm the Giants, that's a sunk cost. It is what it is. We have a chance to get J.J. McCarthy. I don't care about Daniel Jones.
Even the Atlanta Falcons, they signed Kirk Cousins in free agency in March and drafted Michael Penix. And guess what? They're going to move off of him after paying him $100 million for what?
Yeah, exactly.
13, 14 starts?
Yep. Yeah, that's what good organizations do. You have to be opportunistic.
No doubt.
And again, we don't know, J.J. McCarthy's grade. The only grade we could give him right now is a grade of incomplete. But to me, all the indices, all the things you're looking for, and Grant, I went to a ton of Michigan practices. He's a leader. He's tough. He's coachable. It's important to him. He got better. What am I missing here?
Mm-hmm.
Mike T, one of the most debated contracts will be the Brock Purdy deal, which is expected to happen this offseason. If it's in line with what we've seen from quarterbacks over the past 3 years that are considered franchise guys, they're going to get, 21 to 25% of the salary cap. On the low end, that's Brock Purdy making north of $55 million a year. Is that something you would be comfortable with as a general manager, given the state of the 49ers?
Yeah, I would say yes, because, again, for the conversation we just had, if you take Brock Purdy out, what do you have? Look, Mac Jones is going to be on his, third team now with, Kyle Shanahan. And, look, maybe Mac Jones develops one day. But, if Brock Purdy graduates, Chris, what are your options?
Mike, let's go back to the Steelers for a second. We're talking about them waiting for Aaron Rodgers, and we're talking about the fact that they're in that position because of the choices they've made at the quarterback position historically, years past, and they've been one and done in the playoffs for the past 5 years. They're at a crossroads here. What's your viewpoint of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization right now? Not historically, but where they are right now.
Yeah, well, first it starts with a Hall of Fame coach. If every coach in the world was a free agent, Mike Tomlin's a top 3 acquisition. So starting right there, you're off to a great start. Defensively, they're still good. Maybe they aren't as dominant. But you look at those 2 receivers, and you say you have George Pickens and DK Metcalf with Pat Freiermuth, and maybe Roman Wilson develops last year's pick from University of Michigan. That's pretty good. It's not perfect. It's pretty good. But again, my concern is who's your quarterback? And that's why, all those other pieces there you feel good about, Michelle, but gosh, real concern about who's playing quarterback.
Unsportsmanlike is brought to you by Robinhood. Get a 3% IRA match, only $5 a month with Robinhood. Mike Tannenbaum joining us, ESPN.
Robinhood, you have to have your money in there for 6 years.
6 years? Thank you. Mike's not going to let up on this. I don't blame him. I would do the same thing, actually.
Let me follow up with that, Mike T, because you brought up a great point in terms of everything that the Steelers have going for themselves. Can you explain to us why the Pittsburgh Steelers, as an organization, wouldn't be aggressive in trying to move up in the draft from 21 to get a quarterback? because they just don't.